Welcome everyone. Zach the Incredible Impression here. This is part 2 of the vlog of our nation's capital here. I'm currently here in Washington, D.C. Part 1 of the vlog was Arlington National Cemetery and the United States Marine Corps Memorial. So now I am outside of the Smithsonian Museum of American History. We're gonna go in there and take a look around. I know they have rotating exhibits, so some of the things that I'm hoping are there may not be there. I wanted to go up into the Washington Monument today, however, they are closed today for monthly maintenance. So unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. But we're gonna go in to the Smithsonian here. Let's go. Here we go. The Smithsonian Museum of American History.
Move, you're in his photo.
The Star-Spangled Banner, the flag that inspired the national anthem. This is Washington here. Hello, Mr. Founding Father and Mr. President. The nation we build together. It appears the Statue of Liberty is carved out of wood. Because if you look down here, you can see the stump of a tree. That's incredible. This is a Statue of Liberty that was made in Florida out of paper mache. That's pretty impressive. Well, if it isn't the man himself, Uncle Sam. Now I'm gonna hold you responsible for taking all my tax money every year. No, I'm just kidding. Nice seeing you, Uncle Sam.
Then Sam at a lunch counter in Greensboro.
This is from the Woolworth counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, where the students had their sit-in. This was during segregation.
I'm really amused sometimes because
That's the actual lunch counter that they sat at.
And the truth is, I was afraid the whole time. But the choice was to do what was necessary to end segregation or to tolerate segregation. And that just was not acceptable.
But you don't think we would have gotten there eventually?
I had to do a double take here because I thought that this was the sign from the show MASH. But no, it's the New Hampshire primary swamp sign. Gearing up for the 2004 New Hampshire primary campaign volunteers for presidential candidate John Kerry. It was modeled after the swamp sign seen in MASH. Buy war bonds posters. Let's talk census. It makes me think of the Three Stooges when I hear about census. Oh boy, we've got a job, fellas. We're working for the census. Oh, you mean Will Hayes? No, the census. The census. Perfect strangers. Cousin, you picked up garbage. I'm so glad you decided to give a hoot and not pollute. All of this is really cool stuff. Freedom of speech. There we go. Poor People's Campaign. This is an old voting machine. I sort of remember these from like the 90s when you'd go in and you'd pull the lever that would close the curtain, and there were these little buttons here that you push down on. I never really knew how to use those, so I just kind of pushed down whatever. But now we have these more modern computer type, but we also have paper voting ballots.
I became a new citizen in my teens. I follow our culture. I respect our culture.
All this voting stuff.
My parents, the country I came from, but being here in America, the right to vote, I think is so important.
Pretty neat.
For anyone who migrates from another country. I was born in Honduras.
All these voting pieces of memorabilia, and look down here. There's all of these campaign things. Roosevelt, Wendell Willkie. There's the panic button. And Dwight Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Nixon, and Agnew. Governor Wallace, Texas, LBJ for the USA, Johnson Juice, and Goldwater, after Barry Goldwater. Bush and Quayle. Now, being a comedian and an impersonator, I always say it should say Bush and Quayle E at the end of it. Macaroni and cheese. I remember these. Look at this Barack Obama doll. Looks more like one of those guys from the Bloodhound Gang in the Bad Touch. Here we go. The American presidency. Abraham Lincoln's hand cast.
The chief executive of the United States. It's a position with power unlike any other. The president has a responsibility to listen to the American people, but Americans also expect their president to lead.
Now in the First Lady's exhibit, this is Jill Biden's inaugural ceremony ensemble. And of course it was still around the time of COVID, so naturally she'd have to have a mask. And her inauguration celebration ensemble. This was Rosalind Carter's gown, if I can focus it. There we go. Her inaugural gown in '77. Wow, then you've got Nancy Reagan's inauguration gown. Well, yes, that's true. And Barbara Bush. Oh, listen, that's right, Bar. You know, she always looks so beautiful. The Entertainment Nation, my favorite area. Oh boy. The original C-3PO and R2-D2 costumes. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey's Circus. Oh, the Muppets. Little Kermie. Kermit the Frog. And this guy, I have no idea who he is. He was way before my time. And here are Judy Garland's actual ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz. Oh my gosh, they have Prince's Yellow Cloud guitar from 1983. My gosh. That is the original Charlie McCarthy doll, carved by the famed ventriloquist Edgar Bergen, who then went on to inspire a generation of ventriloquists, including Jeff Dunham. And we've got Joe Louis's boxing gloves. And I'm seeing something through the glass which I need to document. Yes, yes, yes. The signpost from MASH. All right, now you're talking. All right. One of my favorite shows of all time. This photo was taken in 1982. You got Sylvester Stallone's outfit from Rocky. Larry Hagman's hat. JR in Dallas. Still the question puzzles us. Who shot JR? We got Michael Jordan's jersey. Christy Yamaguchi's skates. And the egg from Alien. That's awesome. And the costume from Gloria Estefan in the 1987 music video. And the conga used by Emilio Estefan in the 1980s. Over here you've got George Reeves' original Superman costume. A lot of people still wonder about his death. Was he murdered, or did he in fact commit suicide? Judge for yourselves. Everyone has their own opinions. I've got my own opinion. But let me know in the comments section, how do you think George Reeves met his demise? Do you think it was suicide? Or do you think he was murdered? Clayton Moore's Lone Ranger mask. Diana Ross's dress from 1967. You've got Phyllis Diller's costume from a USO tour of Vietnam. I remember that. And then you've got Muhammad Ali's training outfit when he was training with George Foreman. And these are LeVar Burton's prop manacles from the television miniseries Roots. That was before he starred in Star Trek: The Next Generation and Reading Rainbow on PBS. And of course, who could forget Mr. Rogers? Who could ever forget Fred? This is his sweater and sneakers. There's Fred's sneakers in there. You've got the original Howdy Doody doll here. You've got the Mouseketeers ears and an old Mickey lunchbox. You've got Oscar the Grouch up there. And Elmo. And I believe, don't quote me on this, I'm gonna find out, but I believe, oh, that's Loretta Long's dress from Sesame Street. I thought it might have been Julia Child's dress that she wore on the French Chef, but I guess not. You've got the katana used by Danae Gurira as Michonne on The Walking Dead. I love that show. And they have it here. You got the prop credentials used by Dana Scully on the X-Files. My dad used to watch that show all the time. And from the original Batman, 1966 to 68. The original headband, necklace, and gloves by Julie Newmar. And then finally, you've got some props from All in the Family. Archie Bunker and Edith. Archie and Edith Bunker. Great show. Great show. They had something like this in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is the innovation of sight and sound.
So when you think of recording stuff,
Motion pictures, a very early reel-to-reel camera, projector. And you've got WANN, the microphone that was very popular. Nowadays, they still make these kinds of microphones. They're by Shure. And they're quite pricey, but they are extremely, extremely advanced and great to use. You got an original television here. Just about 70 years ago. Television was the newest invention and was like the greatest thing in the world. Nowadays, it's become so common, we don't even think about it.
Mommy also had one of those.
Cable television.
Guys probably think this is too much just the remote. That's the cable television. You know, it's all inside the TV. Where's the cable box? You have to push the buttons. And with this one, you guys want to guess what the remote looked like? With this TV, where's the remote?
Okay, most people my age can relate to this. Who remembers these? If you're under 20 years old, you probably have no idea what this is. Or okay, if you're under 10 years old, you have no idea what this is. But this is a VCR video camera. It's ancient stuff now, so yes, I know. I just called everyone my age and older ancient. Then we've got the iPhone. Looks like this one has seen better days. Incidentally, please do not take what I just said about ancient and quote-unquote insulting people my age and younger or older. Just messing around, okay? Don't take offense. Got the General Motors Hall of Transportation. On the water. Look at this. This is neat. Stories from Maritime America. The tobacco trade. The sugar trade. Rum. Yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum. Got the locomotives here. The Santa Cruz Railroad Company. Interesting. I don't know. Transportation isn't really my thing, but I'll still show you all around it. Sorry if I'm going really fast in some areas. Farming. Hey, look, hey, big guy. You having a bit of a back issue? You know, you ought to see a chiropractor for that. I could give you a good recommendation. The trolley system. And this is pretty much going around the times from the old days into the modern, where we stand today. Yeah, the trolley cars, cable cars. It's all really neat stuff. And again, stuff like this isn't really my thing, but I'm sure for a lot of you it is. And that's what I try to bring to you guys. You got an old lighthouse beam right here. I would imagine that back in the day they actually came in pretty handy. As a matter of fact, the Statue of Liberty was a functioning lighthouse for a few years. I forgot all about that. This is a full-scale model of one of the early ships. I believe this might have been before the Titanic. And then you've got a life jacket and a camera from Bernice Palmer Ellis aboard the Carpathia when it came to rescue the Titanic passengers. And I just noticed the ceiling here. It's like a luxury ship interior. Kind of reminds me of what the grand staircase on the Titanic looked like.
American merchant ships must be free to carry our American goods to the harbors of our friends. It can never be doubted that the goods will be delivered by this nation with saving belief in the tradition.
Now you've got modern maritime America, like the cruise ships. You've got the battleships and stuff, and the transport ships as well. And here's the Alaska Ocean, where the crews work. You can see inside. In a way, they kind of look like they're made out of Legos. I don't know. Petroleum. They were derived from petroleum. Wow. Interesting. I never knew that. Maybe I am very behind in education. This was Julia Child's kitchen design.
She has an incredible way on television about delivering the message.
You know, I recently started getting into Julia Child's show and The French Chef.
She's so over the top and larger than life that her enthusiasm, whatever metaphor,
That's so neat. Julia Child's kitchen. You know, Julia Child had a very familiar, distinct voice that everybody knows and loves. The Legion of Honor Medal that Julia was awarded. Jerry Lewis also got one of those. There were some cookbooks by her.
When she's in the restaurant, the way she handles all the
Her props and humor.
we always try to protect her like a kid loves, keep it away from her. And you know,
An oversized,
that's really like,
exotic, ridiculous gear.
and she has a passion for food, but she also has a real love of it.
I've been there. Julia, thank you so much for coming to this book signing. The ladies like travel.
That's her Emmy Award.
She didn't eat breakfast. She's been on 3 morning shows, and then she'll turn around and look at the lady.
Daytime Emmys. Mr. Rogers also got one of those. Julia Child, the French Chef. They actually made a movie about her, starring Meryl Streep. I have yet to see that film.
Great trepidation, they decided to give her first and she worked, had to work long hours, wasn't going to get home until about 40 minutes when the guests were coming. And wanted to make a béarnaise sauce at 6:30, and didn't know she could make the béarnaise sauce the night before, or if it had separated, she put it in the refrigerator.
Well, guys, we done did the Smithsonian American History Museum. That behind me, that white building, is what I like to call the circus. Anyway, we're now gonna go. I gotta put some money in the meter so that Jesse can stay parked, and then we're gonna go on over to the Air and Space Museum, but that's gonna be in the next part of the vlog. So this part of the vlog is over, and I will see you in the next part. Vlog part 2 over.